Hi everyone, it's Dr. Lynch, and I'm making this video message to give a couple updates to the class in terms of the way that we're doing things, and just offer some thoughts on the questions that are guiding the current work for level 2. So first and foremost, I got an email from Alyssa recently, or Elisa, you'll have to tell me how to pronounce your name. And she had suggested that something we could do in the course that might make it a bit more kind of social and effective for everyone would be to have some sort of kind of common space where folks could at least like leave comments for each other, know who's in the course, things like that. I think that's a great idea. And so, what I've decided to do is, I initially was like, oh, well, we'll just use Blackboard for that. And the issue though with Blackboard is that you don't have access to it after you leave the university. And so what I wanted to do was to create a space where we could engage during the class, but that you'd also have access to me and each other beyond that. So what I've done is I've created a LinkedIn group. And the LinkedIn group will be open only to students who are in my classes, starting with you all. Other students will be able to join the class over time, but we can count on it as like a space where we can do this work currently, and then also where we can continue to support each other's work over time. So look for more information on that. Maybe I'll put a link to it in the email that this comes out with. Now, this unit, or this level, I should say, we are focusing on the ways in which that language and meaning and schools kind of interplay. And we're looking at some text around that. And then we're also looking at this notion of like what disciplinary literacy is and what disciplinary languages is. So one of the things I would point out to you, particularly with the latter question, is like, remember that language is social. And remember that language is really the foundation of how we learn and how we teach, certainly in formal education. So these are questions that we really do have to tackle, very thoughtfully. You'll see in like some of the clip, for example, with Eminem. It's really interesting to hear him talk about his relationship with language and his relationship with school, right? It's really interesting to hear Mike Rose talk about the ways in which language and intelligence in particular, he'll use that term, but the way in which that, the academic definitions of it are insufficient. What does it mean to challenge that, right? We've chosen to become teachers and be in education, so we probably did really well in school, but a lot of people don't. And what role does language play in who succeeds in school and who doesn't? And are there other kinds of ways we could frame education, or what it means to learn, or what academics are, that might open up possibilities for others? In terms of academic literacies or disciplinary literacies, there are a lot of folks in this class I've noticed who are science teachers. Think about like what's the unique lexicon of like science? What are the genres that we read and write in science class? These are really, really important questions that, honestly, if your education was anything like mine, you probably haven't thought too much about it. But there are specific genres, for example, that are unique to science. There are specific ways of using language in science that some of them relate with the way we use it in other classes or in other disciplines. Some of them don't. And we have to become really aware of it, in hopes that by becoming aware, we might be able then to make some different decisions when we're supporting our students in the classroom. All right? So if you haven't, well, you wouldn't have yet. Once you see the link to the LinkedIn group, please do join. It's a really great environment to build your professional identity in. You can set up a LinkedIn profile. If you don't want to, then you can set up a temporary one for this class and delete it when you're done. But as a professional, as an educator, it's a great space to stay in touch with people, to network. You'll have access to my network as well. If we connect on LinkedIn, you don't have to necessarily connect to join the group, but it seems like a real simple, real world way to be able to socialize a little bit more and to remain in touch over time. So hope that's all useful. I'm really enjoying the class. Hope the feedback was useful that you received on level 1, and let's keep going into level 2, and I'll see you online.